Yeah, look, hey, that's exactly what I'm talking about, okay? So you're young, so you're gonna pull your head some, but that's not really the problem. Let me see your bat real quick. So come on here, let me show you what's going on. So yeah, you pulled your head and you looked way out here. But that's not really the problem I saw. Obviously, you gotta see the ball when you're swinging at it, like everybody knows that. And when you turn your head back, that's really good. The problem is not that you pulled your head, it's that when you were swinging, you stood up. And that's what pulling out really is, okay? A lot of times pulling your head is just a symptom of pulling out. So when you change your posture in the middle of your turn, so if you're here and the ball's kind of down here, you've got to hold this position as you rotate through. Everybody knows that. The problem is when you make that mistake and your head flies, your head didn't fly and that caused the problem. What caused the problem is you set your hinge here, you started to turn, and then you panicked and stood up, and that changed everything about the arc of your swing, the attack angle of the bat, and it made you miss that ball. If you can hold your posture and stay in, your coaches will stop telling you you're pulling out, and you'll start driving the ball like you want to. Good. So that calm head movement is exactly what I was just talking about with you a second ago. Hang out right there. I'm going to grab this racket. I'm going to show you something. So look, when you transition, okay, from your hinge, which is here, hinge is when your hips come out from under you a little bit and your chest is over your knees, okay? When you transition from your hinge into your side bend, your head should stay very, very still. Let me show you from the side. So we go from hinge into side bend, and as my head starts to rotate in, it's not moving up and down, it's not moving forward, it's not moving in and out. And that's what you were doing earlier when you were hitting all these rollover ground balls. So when you have these issues in the game where you're hitting the ball hard, pull side, and you're not getting any kind of lift, all that's happening is your hinge isn't transitioning into side bend dynamically with speed. You're going into your hinge and then you're standing up slightly, and it's changing your bat path, and it's taking doubles and homers and turning them into singles. And obviously, if you want to stay in the lineup, that's not going to work. Understanding how to practice this is really, really important. So one of my favorite things to do, especially when you're in your hotel room on the road, is you can get a rack, you can stride here right next to the wall, and you can rotate under, make sure your head stays in contact, and that's going to help you know your dynamic transition from hip hinge into side bend is working with speed, balance, and postural discipline. Kids, great practice. Go ahead and get your dugout cleaned up, get your stuff. I'm going to talk to your parents for just a second. Good job. So what we saw today and what we worked on a lot was keeping our head still and not pulling out. So staying on the ball, especially driving the ball backside. And one of the things I think a lot of our kids really made a mistake with was when they would try to hit the outside pitch, they would stand up and reach, and that created a lot of deflections. Or if they were a little bit early, they would reach forward this way and get a lot of rollovers that way. And that's not going to give the bat path that's going to help us drive the ball backside with some authority so we can move runners and get more hits. So what I want you guys to do with your kids at home this week is really understand that once they set their hinge, right, they need to be able to hold this angle with their body, and when they rotate, keep that angle, okay? And it's something really simple. Everybody's got a bat, and it's not a perfect drill, but it's something they'll understand, because if they set here and they go to their angle here and then they stand up, like obviously this is totally different than that. And so we want to have a good angle in our hinge, stride and hinge, and then we want to keep this angle as we rotate and side bend in, and that's going to help us stay on the outside pitch, drive the ball hard backside, and do more damage in more counts.